Hey, how you doing, guys? So CZ and Peter Schiff of gold is a proper gold speculator, gold accumulator, gold proponent. In fact, I'll call him a gold bug, number one gold bug. Had a lovely debate. I think it was yesterday at this stage. If you're if you're watching this, probably yesterday or day after. Just search it online. Okay, CZ versus Peter Schiff. Yeah, CZ is the head of Binance, and so clearly he's a crypto, more on the crypto side of things. And then he's sitting there and arguing with this old guy called Peter Schiff. Okay, and I watched it, and it was exactly what I would expect in terms of the old guy being gold and the younger guy CZ being Binance. Again, CZ looks young, so I won't be surprised if he's actually 60. No disrespect. I mean, I look 60 from my status, so I can tell you I'm not any better. And so who am I? I'm the CEO of Orukka. Orukka is a smart payment ring. And we allow users tap to pay. So in terms of this debate, a few people always argue and think I'm taking sides here. Okay, I'm not taking any sides here. I'm not pro crypto and I'm not pro fiat. Okay, I'm in the middle here, right? And I'm in the middle for good reason, because our payment rings work with both. So in fact, I'm in the middle of the customer. I want the customer to get the best value. If fiat is the best value in terms of having protection, then get fiat. We work with fiat. If gold is the best in terms of one having a store of value, I have a little gold bar here. There we go. If gold is the best, this is a 1 gram gold. It's a store of value, okay? Because you can see, you can touch it. You can't spend it, but you can touch it. So if it's a store of value, then we work with this. That means we can tokenize this so that when you spend your gold, this deducts from your gold, and we can work with a custodian bank on that. And then obviously, lastly, then if you work with crypto, so we have a deal where we're just finalizing with Binance. We finished talking to Coinbase, and then we're talking to Stripe next. So within those three, those are the three major guys in terms of crypto. We'll talk to more people, by the way, if you guys want us to. But from a customer's point of view, you can tap your ring to make payments, cash. You can tap your ring to make payments by topping up from your bank. You can tap your ring to make payment and it gets deducted from your crypto. So we're in the middle here, okay? And order now, by the way, it's Orukka, Orukka, Orukka.com, okay? Simple as that, not simple, but I can tell you it's one of the most complex things we put together. And we're very small when you compare us to Binance and all the top banks we work with. So we worry about the customer. So customer first, and we're in the middle here. That's the point I'm trying to make there. So that being said about my product and why you should buy it, I thought the debate with Binance, CZ, and Peter Schiff was very interesting. Quite funny at times, but it's very respectful between them both. I need to talk about that as well. It's very respectful. I must give them both that, that kudos, right? It's always hard, and there was no mediator in between them, so it was two people against the other, right? And they're very passionate about their field. So I'm sure, I don't know if anyone had to talk to them to say, hey guys, let's not fight today, right? Otherwise, trust me, there's sometimes when I'll be like, whoa, I hope they don't fight. Especially, so I'll start, right? It started very well because again, it technically, because it's a Binance event, I think CZ was a bit calm. CZ, made some points, but tried to be as calm as possible and acknowledge that the crowd are more pro crypto. So he tried to give him that ground, okay? That being said, I think I'll just run through it. I had some notes here which I was like, whoa, that's cool. So here's the point. It started immediately with CZ. CZ showed up with gold, okay? Which is a bar of gold. So, but this is a small gold. This is a 1 gram gold. I'm not sure if you can see it here. It's a 1 gram gold, and you see here it's from Switzerland. I got that from Switzerland. Gold fine, and then it has a stamp from Degussa. Okay, this is 1 gram. I bought it about $60, and it's currently trading at 140. Okay, now this is it. CZ brought 1 gram, like a huge, I think it was a 1 kilogram of gold is what he brought on. Okay, and then he showed it to Peter and said, "Hey, Pete, I got this from CZ, from what do you call it from? I think it was from KSA and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia." And you could tell you could tell Peter was nervous about the gold. You could tell Peter, as soon as he saw the gold, Peter immediately compared it with the gold that he had on, right? And you could tell, and this is where you see the irony of people who trust and argue that gold is king or argue that gold is more superior, right? Gold can be superior if you can't trust it. So Peter could not validate the gold if it was real or not. And he surely won't accept it because he doesn't know. And that was the point. I think CZ just went out of the bat, like just ran out straight out of the bat, killing him with that point. And I wish he had stopped there. Like, it was so bad that you are a pro gold bug, if they call it that, you're a gold bug, you're pro gold to a T, such that you think like fiat is crap, you think fiat is nothing, you think Bitcoin is crap, Bitcoin is just a code. Yet when they gave you gold, you couldn't tell if it's real or not. Like, he couldn't tell if it was real or not, and he wouldn't accept it. And then you could tell after a while, he then had to just almost gamble and to go, well, I don't trust it because it looks fake and all that. He thought that it was real. And then he turned around and said, oh, because I don't know the firm behind it. But you're like, okay, the firm behind it, this could still be fake. You don't know. So it was interesting to see that. And then that's a strong argument against gold, if you ask me. If I was CZ, I'd stop there and say, there you go. If you've seen gold right now, like because if you turn that around, if anyone paid with Bitcoin, we would not have that conversation, right? It wouldn't be an argument because you could just tell immediately. If someone sends me Bitcoin, I can tell if it's real or fake because it'll be on the blockchain. You can tell, you can see the transaction, you can go onto Etherscan or any of those publicly available ledger, and you can see the transaction, you can see both wallets. It's public immediately. That's what you want to do. Okay, and that's exactly why fiat is stronger, in my opinion. Because if I send you money and I claim that I've sent it to you, if we don't see it, two of us, if we don't see it in a central, which in this case will be the central bank, and me and you's bank, so that's where the middlemen come in. That's why we pay so much fees to banks. So my bank will tell you I've seen it. Your bank will say you've sent it. And then the central bank between it facilitates it, especially if you're in a different country, then the two central banks have to facilitate it. There's a lot of middlemen that come in between. But those middlemen were important. The middlemen, were important because of lack of trust between us. So you don't know who you're sending the money to. That's exactly why you needed that person in the middle. As simple as that. So he couldn't validate that, and that was a problem. And I wish he had stopped there, but he didn't. Then there was the other point as well, where he had a very good point, which is about gold. So gold has been around for 2,600 years. So Peter was able to say this stores value forever. That's true. Again, I don't know if we're animals, right? Again, we're animals, gorillas. But when we see anything shiny, our heads spark. So when I touch this, I feel happy, right? So I can bring this out now, and I can bring this out, and when you see this, there you go. So this is it. Just touching the gold is really, and again, it's very skinny, right? It seems it's a bar, right, as far as it's concerned. But in terms of just touching it, there's a pleasant taste to it. Like, you just feel happy that you're touching something shiny, which is what we do as humans, right? And to me, that's more important than just having a code, right? Seeing a code somewhere. Yeah, which is the same thing. Even in banking, when you see $1 million, you're like, okay, that's different. But if someone withdraws $1 million and gives you $1 million, and Mr. B says you've won $1 million, he shows $1 million. That's why he's famous, because he shows the money, right? And you see it. That's different from seeing $1 million in your bank account. You almost need to let it sink in, right? That's the same thing with gold. If someone sends you $1 million or $1 million in Bitcoin, you have to let it sink in. But if I gave you gold worth $1 million, whoa, you're going to feel that immediately. Right, so that's a strong argument. Let's talk about that, right? And then Peter tried to argue about the infinity of gold, which he said, oh, gold is infinite, right? And I like Caesar's response there, because it's not true, right? So they're like, we know Bitcoin is finite, but we don't know if gold is finite. That's the truth. Gold is scarce, but not finite, right? Because it was still, in terms of population, we're still discovering gold. We're still mining gold up to 1% per annum. But we could strike gold, like everyone still strike, like there are mines everywhere. So gold, you could strike gold and see like so much ore coming through, such that we say, whoa, okay, the price of gold has gone down because we've discovered gold. Right? People are now going in and trying to discover gold on asteroids. Imagine if we could hit an asteroid going around. Again, asteroids go around the Earth. So imagine there's an asteroid that goes around the Earth that's carrying gold. If we bring that down, that brings down the value of gold immediately. So gold, why gold is scarce? Gold has been scarce for 2,600 years. But at some point, gold might not be scarce, and then it becomes useless. That's something that no one's thinking about. There was cattle. Everyone used cattle for 3,000 years. Eventually, it got cancelled. Why? Because people found out, wait, this is not convenient. Sickness came in. There was cow disease or something that came on at that point, head and foot or something like that. I can't remember. But people realized that cows get sick a lot, and so they had to stop. That's the same thing with gold. So people are happy with gold right now, but you never know at what point gold will stop being the store of value that it is right now. And so that's something he brought up there, which I thought was very cool. Then the irony, which I found very funny, was when Pete said that he's going to launch his own. And again, I'm still going to talk about it separately. So So this is someone who doesn't trust Bitcoin, okay? And then he himself said now he's going to launch his own ETF or his own gold exchange. So each gold is going to be backed by one ETF or one issuance. So he's going to have a fund, and the fund issues a paper or issues something, a token. Okay, I think he called it token gold, tokenized gold. And then so the fund issues it. So if you look at this gold, right, this is gold, and then what will happen is this gold, each gold will represent one token. Okay, which makes that's okay, that makes sense. Then he says so when you sell a token, you're selling the gold, and it's going to make sure the gold transfers across. Okay, but if you think about this, right, no one's thinking about it. One is the cost. Right. So how much do you think you get? You pay for this gold right here, right? I need to put this back. But this gold, I can tell you right now, is 120, 140. Now, if you're transferring it from one person to the other, you're paying for storage charges. Let's not forget that. You're paying for paperwork because you need to now move this gold and then you move the paperwork and custody between one person to the other. Okay, so that means there needs to be a minimum amount that you can trade. Say you make it very, very small. You have to make it very small. Then in that case, the fees will be very high because you're moving the gold physically. You've now split it, and then you're moving it from here to here, one corner of gold from here to here. Then what if that person wants to redeem his gold? It says 1-to-1. Then you better make sure you're able to cut a piece of this gold and give it to that person because they want to issue that token and get the gold back, or you're fraudulent. So I don't think he's thought that far, which is quite funny. Okay. And then if he does that and he's thought that far and he's gone ahead and said, okay, there's going to be a margin. So that means instead of buying this gold, if you come to me, it's going to be more expensive because of all the paperwork and the transfer and transactions I need to validate to make sure it's correct. That's okay. But what does that remind you of? That reminds you of what happened before 1971 with paper money and with the central government. So that's exactly what the central government did. They all claimed to do 1-to-1. It was always 1-to-1 cash, right, versus gold. Always 1-to-1. And then it gets to one stage when you issue so much token that you decouple it from the gold. Like history repeats itself. So Pete, unless he's a genius, unless he's a very, very holy man, holier than the central banks that we don't trust, central bank that blockchain don't trust, what's going to happen? So there you go. Anyway, I'll stop there now, but it was a very interesting debate. I'll say you go watch it, okay, because it's fun, it's relaxing, and I can't recommend it high enough. Okay. So guys, let's not forget again, I think they're both on the same page in terms of the argument. They were very good. They were both against fiat, which I think they need to understand. The devil here in the room is the person sitting in the middle, which is the government, right? And the fiat system they both don't trust. So I think that's one thing they should both